Hey, we're back.
Hey.
We're back.
Yes.
We're back.
We're back.
We're back.
Imagine that. We
Oh,
came
man.
back for season 2.
What were you
Season
thinking?
2.
Were there any doubts? I think there probably were.
You know, we could have done without the threatening emails.
I did have
Not
to twist some
necessary.
arms. Mostly my own, though.
Yes.
Actually,
Yes,
yeah.
that was true.
Yeah, I think I was the biggest whiner after season 1, but that was a lot of episodes to go through, and
You worked hard, Jerry.
worked hard. And you know, it's dumb, but this like consumes every waking moment of my life because I can't stop tweaking things once I start going down this path. So
I understand
Sound like
that.
a DM, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. So you get to not only listen to a great game with a bunch of great players, but you get to watch my descent into madness at the same time. So how exciting is that?
And now you get to see it.
That's true.
He's going to
For
turn
only
in.
$5 a month.
$5 a month.
You can pause and,
Yeah.
and look at the moment where his brain breaks.
Yeah, he's going to turn into the Mad Mage.
You will catch me once in a while just staring blankly at this camera in front of me. So yes, we are going to try to record these in video and put them on YouTube as well this season, which is a new thing for us. Gives me more to control, which again helps with the whole descent into madness thing. But hopefully you'll bear with us on the podcast and as we try to figure this out. And that's what season 2 is going to look like. Oh, we lost our glorious recapper voice. Yeah.
Oh.
So we won't have that. I guess we don't need it for this episode, but
Oh.
Still, that's a bummer.
yeah, it is a bummer. She's just too busy and
Yeah.
everything going on. It's
Okay.
like, so we'll probably have to do something clever with recaps here. I was thinking I could, get it like a bow tie, and we could take turns being the dapper recapper for each episode.
Oh.
God.
Anyone like that?
Well, I'm
That's
not
it.
doing that.
Okay.
Oh.
We have
You know-
someone already bowed out.
But I know someone
I
who
think-
might be happy to do recaps
oh,
in his own special voice.
Nice. I like that. So you're talking about your character, which is fantastic because
He's the best.
that's next, right?
Literally the best.
All right. So let's start with you. Let's go around the table and everyone kind of talk about, again, introduce yourselves and say who you're playing in season 2.
So I'm Ted, and I'm going to be playing Alar Noestri, half-elven bard, late of the Ashwood, and ready to take Vadragan by storm.
I'm excited.
Well,
Wow.
Of course you are.
Yeah.
We've always wondered what you look like, Ted.
He hypes himself quite well.
Awesome. So you are playing a half-elven bard.
Yes.
And anything else you want to tell us about yourself?
About myself?
Well, your character. Yeah.
My character? No. I'll
No?
let him speak for himself.
Okay. Awesome. Who's next?
I am Thad on this realm. In character, I am Brokos Le Fortuan. I am born of Badger blood, and I am a wild hunt shifter druid.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
excited to play a magic user.
I tried to look up, badger shifters
Yeah.
to see if there were any like good images that I could kind of
Yeah,
put
no.
in my mind.
No.
And there weren't really any great ones out there, but
Usually, the shifter comes from the wild hunt comes from the animals that you were born of blood of.
Mhm.
So it's like basically a were badger.
yeah. I mean, that's what I wanted to see,
Yeah.
and I could kind of picture it, but there's not a lot of great artwork out there for me to look
Not
at.
yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, we're working on
coming.
that. Yeah, we're working on it. Who's next?
I guess that's me, going in order here. So I'm Don, and I'm going to be playing a bugbear rogue.
A
So,
bugbear
A
rogue.
bugbear rogue.
Named.
His name is Kragar. Just Kragar.
So what's special about a bugbear that I should know about as a DM? Give me some tips, so I don't get surprised.
Well, he's like 7 feet tall.
It's going to be overpowered, man.
He's furry. He's not super bulky. He's kind of like a lighter build sort of bugbear. But they've got the large sweeping ears and I mean, as far as mechanically, the cool thing is, I mean, they're stealthy
Yeah.
despite their size. They don't wear shoes, kind of like halflings. They just because they've got big clawed feet,
Nice.
and they have a
Cobbler's dream.
Cobbler. Yeah, saves so much money on boots. The two things they have, they get surprise attack, which their first attack, if it's a surprise attack in a melee, they get to add an extra 2d6 sneak attack damage that stacks with rogue.
There you go,
Wow.
So
Jerry.
that first
There you
attack.
go.
How did I let that slip by?
Yeah,
Welcome to 5e, where it all stacks.
it all stacks.
So you're going to be the new Bjorn this
Yeah,
season?
basically.
We'll see.
Yeah.
luck.
And the other thing is they have it's called like long limbs, so that they don't threaten extra spaces, but they can attack with reach. So it's this weird hybrid where he doesn't have 10 feet of threatened space, but
I'm so proud of you, Don.
just when he goes to attack, he can really reach out, and just sort of touch you.
Oh, Jerry.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
proud of you.
Well, I'll be looking forward to season 3 or 4 of switching characters. So eventually I'll get this right. But that sounds awesome.
I've never
Yeah.
played Bugbear. I'm very excited.
Sounds really cool.
Yeah. I did find some, you sent me some bugbear images and, much more ferocious and scary looking. And I think
Very
it's
scary looking.
kind of cool. Yeah. And last but definitely not least,
I'm Rochelle, and I'm going to be playing a tiefling fighter named Tristeza.
nice. Tiefling fighter. So you're scary too.
No, not at all.
Not at all? Okay. Well,
I mean, she's got horns and
She's just mysterious.
fangs and a
Or
big sword.
I mean, this is kind of a motley group,
this
right?
is Vadrigan, though. I mean, it's
Right.
not.
Right.
It's a tough city.
It is a tough city. And you're just on fire today, Alar, leading me right into these great segues. Is that something that your character's bringing to this party? Is
I am
segue power?
multi-talented. Absolutely.
Nice. So yeah, we are in Vadrigan. Just a reminder, season 2, Vadrigan, this vile, corrupt city that's kind of built around the slave trade. One of the only places on this continent that slavery is not only allowed but like embraced and held up as like a virtue or something. It's a terrible, terrible place. You guys ran into some assassins that were from Vadrigan. They actually ranked their assassins.
Never met the number one, though.
Never met the number one. Yeah, I wonder if that will come up.
Yeah, I wonder.
So we're in Vadrigan with this motley group of players who just happen to blend in because it is a place that where lots and lots of different races have been brought together in this kind of island that's walled off from the rest of the world. And here you are in Vadrigan. So I'm excited about season 2. Anyone else excited about
Very.
season 2?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think everybody who's watching this, from what we've gotten feedback so far, is very excited.
I hope so.
Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah.
I'm hoping season 2 is excited about me.
I love the new attitude. It's just going to take me a long time to get used to it after Alaron.
Yeah,
It's
well.
just gonna. I don't know who Alaron is, but
Change it up.
You've
a
heard
bit.
his name,
heard the name. Yeah.
which he doesn't like.
No, that's not good.
So just a reminder, we want to, encourage you all. Thank you, and thank you for your support thus far. The
Yes.
comments and, all of you looking forward to season 2. It's been awesome. I mean, it really kept us going with this idea that we could continue to play this game, have some fun doing it, and possibly provide some entertainment for all of you listening and now watching. So it's a very cool thing. And some of you have even chosen to support us on Patreon, which is awesome. And if you want to help keep us going, we have some costs that we have to cover, like hosting and, for the website and for the podcast itself. And we have a few other things like we, do all this artwork and stuff for the characters. And so it does take time and effort and money to put all this together. So if you want to help us keep this show going, then you can go to dungeonpatrol.com and click the Patreon button, or you can go to patreon.com/dungeonpatrol and sign up. Give us $1 or $5. That would be awesome. I mean, there are higher tiers, but no one has broken the higher tier yet. So
Oh,
you
he's
want to
throwing
be
the
the
gauntlet
first.
down.
Yeah. Who's got money? Who's got way too much money? Go there.
Bill Gates, if you're watching
Yeah.
and you're enjoying the show.
Yeah, give us some money. I mean, $1 billion would go a long way, right?
We could quit our jobs and just,
Yeah,
We would just do this all the time.
all day.
I would
Yeah.
do that.
Totally.
I would do that.
Totally legitimate way to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We could get some really nice big gaming chairs, so
Oh
soft
yeah,
gaming chairs.
we'd have to be comfortable. The chairs that I have here, it's a little bit like
Keeps
torture.
you on your toes.
Yep. So at the end of our episode, we're anxious to get out and stretch our backs
This
and move
this
around.
is the dungeon that we patrol.
We are suffering for you. So please give us a few bucks.
Blink twice if you
Make it
need help.
They're not allowed to leave. So, are you guys ready to get started?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's go.
Please.
Awesome. So, what we're going to do is, you guys are going to suddenly be in Vadragan. And I know a little bit about your backstories. Some of you, we have a surplus of orphans again. But again, Vadragan is the sort of place where that is totally normal. And so you're not going to stand out a whole lot because of those backgrounds. So I'm going to start with Triss, our tiefling fighter. After your sudden discharge from the Legion, you returned home to Vadragan to search for work with a head full of strange, confusing memories that you can't seem to make sense of. Your excellent service record quickly landed you a spot with one of the largest private security firms in Drummondor, Peck and Wimby. You're told to speak with your handler, a narrow-faced, half-elven woman named Rua Silverwind, who you met once before during your interview. Rua stands in the cold rain outside of the Peck and Wimby Company Tavern, a squat, unadorned building on the western side of the island. She spots you and beckons to you impatiently. She holds in her hand your first contract. She tells you that a man named Remus Nova is getting married, and he wants extra security to reassure his guests. Rua hands you the papers, taking care to keep them out of the rain. She looks you in the eye and flatly states that directions to Nova's estate, along with the terms of your contract, are in the paperwork. You'll be paid 100 gold upon satisfactory completion of the contract. As always, Peck and Wimby takes 25%, and supplies can be purchased on credit at the company store if you need them. So, you should report to Hell's Felton at the Nova Mansion before midday tomorrow. And she looks at you and asks, "Do you have any questions?"
Oh wait, I got the wrong voice. Sorry.
We're just getting started again. Don't worry about it.
What was the name of the contact?
Hell's Felton.
Hell's Felton. What sort of supplies might I need other than my sword and armor?
To be honest, you're probably covered. But if you needed potions or things like that, feel free to pick them up. The prices are not too reasonable, but you get to buy them on credit.
Ah, I see.
Company store.
Company store. They're going to gouge you.
I'm surprised they don't pay you in script.
I actually had that in there before. It's handed company script.
Thank you.
Any questions about the job?
Well, will Hell's Felton be giving me more information?
Hell's is Remus's major domo, I guess. I don't know much about the man other than I had to arrange this job with him. I understand that Remus is working on his 5th marriage. As far as I'm concerned, he's your typical rich pit lord. He's marrying some poor girl less than half his age, as usual. I don't know much about him other than that. I hear rumors that he's very strict with his slaves. He still brands them with a white-hot iron, if that tells you anything, and chains them at night, just like a pit lord.
And so this is a basic security for the wedding party?
Yeah, it's actually at the feast, I believe. And Hells made it seem like you were just there to look intimidating. That's why you were selected.
Will I be the only security there?
No, there are several others that will be joining you.
From Peck and Wimby.
Peck and Wimby, and I understand a few others.
Interesting. Any other information?
Not that I can think of. I think you should talk to Hells Felton. He may be able to give you some answers if you have more questions. Right now, just take your papers and do a good job.
I will endeavor to do my best.
She shakes your hand and walks off into the rain. Now, Kragar.
Gregor.
You arrive at the Night Rover Guild House in Old Town. It's your first time visiting since you became a full member of the guild. And the guild HQ is in an old public bathhouse, and the warm, damp air clings to your exposed skin as you enter the building. You climb the stairs to the rooftop gardens, sparing brief nods to those you pass by. You approach the large slab of smooth, dark stone that partially shields one side of the garden, and there, in large, 12-inch tall handwritten letters, is her name. Number 10 on the list. Strange, considering she only listed a week ago. Someone wants her very badly. Suddenly, the chalker, the elderly night rover who takes the names and ranks them each week, is standing next to you. And he echoes your thoughts by saying, "Odd, isn't it? I can't recall a time where someone makes the list one week and is chalked the next. But it happened. I've been watching people like you come and go all day, staring at that name." Then he looks around, sort of conspiratorially, checking to see if anyone else is in listening distance, and he leans into you a little bit, and he says, "None of them know what I know, son, and I can tell you for half her bounty."
That's a high price to pay.
It is, but I'm sorry to say I would like to retire and get out of the city if I could. It doesn't look like that's going to happen anytime soon. So if you want the information, I'm happy to give it to you. But again, I need half the bounty, which is considerable since she is number 10 on the list.
Agreed.
Good. Thank you. I think you've made the right choice. Now, I still have connections in this city. A friend who deals in private security met with someone who matched her description. I mean, how many tiefling women are in this town anyway? I asked around, and it sounds like she got picked up by Peck and Wimby. She'll be working a job tomorrow, the home of Remus Nova. Yes, that Remus Nova. I hope it works out for both our sakes.
Who else knows about this?
Just you and I and my friend.
Who's your friend?
He works in private security at another firm. Not Peck and Wimby, but I guess she had applied around.
Thanks for the tip.
Okay. So, any questions?
No.
I want to help you in any way I can. I need this money more than you know.
I can find the place. You said tomorrow?
Tomorrow. That's the way I understood it. You'll have to make arrangements with his major domo to make sure you get on the guest list.
Any chance we can get in as security?
That's possible. Maybe the guest list would not suit you so well.
It'd be a stretch.
It would be. And he looks up at you, up and down, like he's seen you for the first time, and he kind of backs away a little bit. He's like,
right,
yeah,
you're a bugbear.
yeah, maybe, you should pose as one of the security personnel that he's hired. That does make more sense now that you say it.
I'll see what I can do.
Great, great. Again, good luck to you.
He narrows his eyes. They're just solid yellow orbs.
Okay. Very intimidating, I'm sure. Alar, on to you.
In the flesh.
You're counting the money from your hat. 14 silver and a handful of copper coins trickle through your hand. Your helper's eyes widen, obviously pleased with the haul, which will barely pay your keep for the week. You sigh and hand the hat back to your overeager assistant. You're about to send the excited fool away when a knock at the door disturbs you. You slap the hat from your helper's hands and motion him to the door. You sit upright and then slump back down to assume a pose that's half boredom, half impatience. One last sharp glare and a quick nod at your helper, and he swings the door open wide, and a trim, proper-looking man stands there. Your helper begins to offer a flourish of introductions, but the man curtly says, "Are you Alar the Bard? I've been all over town looking for someone who can play at my master's wedding feast tomorrow night. I don't have any time to waste, so I'm prepared to pay you 100 gold, 50 now and 50 after the event. Do you accept these terms?"
Indeed, I do.
That was fast. Good. Many powerful men and women will be in attendance. Fate smiles on you, Bard, for you have the honor of playing for the one and only Remus Nova. Details are on this scroll. Don't be late. And he throws you a little bag full of gold that jingles in your hand as you catch it. Any questions for me?
You've chosen well. Is there any particular style of music his lordship prefers?
Whatever the rabble that shows up there prefers is fine with me. Lordship doesn't like music. He doesn't like poetry.
Sorry.
So just play whatever seems to entertain them and make them happy. That's all you're there for.
Well, I am honored, as are you. Thank you.
They'll be too drunk to notice anyway.
You see, Brokos? We're getting the appreciation I knew we would get.
If you say so.
Okay. So, any questions for Hells Felton?
I'll ask the specifics of where and when and all that, but
Okay.
nothing more than that.
So he tells you it's all on the scroll, and you should look at the scroll, but you're maybe busy jingling the coins in the little bag. And he starts to back away.
Okay.
And now, Brokos. Your partner looks stunned by the sudden turn of fortune. His feigned boredom evaporates the second the door closes. He gently shakes the bag of coins over and over again, enjoying the faint jingling noise. You unroll the scroll and force it to lay flat on the hard bench that serves as your bed. On it, you read the
Cold.
specifics of the contract. The bard must provide his or her own accompanists, attendants, heralds, poets, jugglers, etc., at his own discretion and expense. However, at least one accompanist should be present during poetry or other narrative recitations. You quickly look at your partner and blurt out, "You need an accompanist." Your partner disagrees vehemently, but finally relents by saying, "Look, Brokos, I will pay you 1 gold to attend me, carry my instruments and supplies and that sort of thing. A bard of my remarkable talent needs no accompanist. Do we have a deal, friend?"
I heard him say 100 gold. If I play well, can I get 2?
Cool, buddy.
Oh man.
Gotta work on your self-esteem here.
You guys can negotiate if you want. Feel free.
Wow.
Yeah, you're writing me as perhaps worse than I am, Jared.
This is the vibe you gave me.
Okay.
Then 50-50.
Well, there's operating expenses. Of course, we need to put some money aside for future costs.
Well, what do we play? Should we play our set from the High Cobble Festival?
Indeed, but I've been working on that new epic that I think would be well received.
I've not heard this before.
Oh, you can improvise on your drums.
Yes.
What kind of drums do you
My
play?
mom said I was quite the percussionist. I have mostly a bongo size, but I can also play anything that has a stick and a board will help too. I mean,
Just bring your bongos, Brokos.
okay.
Okay.
Brokos on the bongos.
Brokos on the bongo. These bongos were made from the eternal tree.
So what should we bill ourselves as? Perhaps Alar and the Badger. Do you like that?
1 gold, huh?
I'm sure we can find some more gold for you, and perhaps we'll be tipped. This is going to be a wedding after all.
Appreciate that, but I mean, surely I can't show up like this.
Fine. Here, take 5 gold and go outfit yourself.
Oh, thank you.
Wow. Okay.
That should be enough for good clothes, right?
Right. Yeah.
100 gold's a lot.
It is a lot. Okay. So you guys do your things. You are getting outfitted. You're tracking down the Major Domo, Kregar, and Triss.
I do want
You're-
to check out the company
store?
store and just see how badly they're going to gouge me on these potions.
Your initial impression is that it's about, 50% more than what you would normally pay. So it's pretty high.
Yeah, that is pretty high.
I mean, if you were desperate and needed something, but we're assuming you guys have your basic weaponry and armor and things like that to start with. So your call if you wanted to pick up some other things like healing potions or anything like that.
So how much just for a single healing potion?
Good question. Let's see. Healing
They're only like
potion.
50, aren't they?
They're usually 50 gold pieces.
Oh, well then I can't
they
afford
really?
that.
Yeah.
Then never mind.
But you can get it on credit.
Yeah, but I'm only going to walk away from this event with 75 gold. So
Right,
that's
and top
my
of the interest.
entire
But it'd be a healing potion.
you can
What if someone was trying to kill you?
well, I don't know that, do I?
Might come in handy. No. Okay, so you're passing on the company store?
If it's 75 gold, then yeah, I'm afraid I'm going to have to pass.
Yeah, it is. Okay.
All right. Well, that makes
Um,
me sad.
Anything else?
I think we should get some nice new cloaks and doublets.
Very nice.
Look the part. Matching, hopefully.
I would think you would have
Wow.
more ornate costume.
Coordinating.
Yes.
Coordinating. There you
Yes,
go.
there you go.
That's the way to do it. All right.
So he can pick up on the colors of my doublet and the hem of his otherwise nondescript cloak. We don't want you to stand out too much, Brokos.
We don't want
I
to forget
agree.
who the star is here, right? Okay. So the next day comes, and you guys all happen to make your way to Remus Nova's mansion in Horncliffe, which is kind of the wealthy section of town, sort of built into some hills overlooking the port across the bay. And so you and the guests arrive in the lavishly decorated grand hall Flowers adorn every surface, rising and falling in great colorful waves. Lilies mostly, a personal favorite of Remus. The guests filter into the cavernous space and are assaulted by the sights and smells. Tables and chairs for 400 were reduced to 300, and then 200. Larger tables and chairs were brought in to fill the space. But when the young puffy-eyed bride, she's allergic to flowers, by the way, and her excessively powdered old groom finally arrive, maybe half of the ballroom seats are actually filled. The Baron himself was on the guest list, and he assured Remus that nothing could keep him away, but his table is also empty. Dozens of slaves, each wearing iron collars tastefully covered with silk scarves, stand nervously, perhaps awaiting their master's displeasure at the poor turnout. But Remus composes himself and rises from the head table, smiling broadly around the room. He has to talk loudly since most of those in attendance were assigned seats toward the back of the room. He gives a short toast, thanking them for their bravery, mocking those that didn't show up. He then gives the command for his slaves to begin serving the food. A broad-shouldered young man gingerly begins slicing a roast pig for the head table. He stabs a thick slab of meat with a shaking hand and drops it awkwardly onto Remus's platter. Remus looks up at the slave, his eyes scrunched up under furrowed brows, and the rage and fury of the evening's many slights boils over into a torrent of abusive curses and threats. Instead of shrinking away, however, the man suddenly stands taller, like the verbal lashing has given him newfound strength. The man tightens his grip on the fork, and in one fluid motion plunges it deep into Remus's neck. Blood sprays wildly from his punctured artery, coating his pale, sniffling bride in her pristine white dress with a thick, uneven layer of red gore. A solitary scream punctuates the lurid scene just before all hell breaks loose. More slaves pour into the room and quickly bar the doors. They begin hacking, strangling, and bashing the guards. You see Hell's Felton go down after a blow from a thick wooden club, and the vicious mob makes its way toward the stunned guests. Now, you have some decisions to make. Triss, starting with you again, you're watching the angry tirade at the head table, but you're also vaguely aware of a bugbear staring at you from across the room. Sudden movement catches your eye, and before you can blink, your employer has a fork sticking out of his neck. Thick streams of crimson blood spray all over his young bride, eliciting one piercing scream. What do you do?
So how far away am I from the head table?
You're probably about 30 feet.
Can I, I will run that distance and grab the bride.
Okay. Kragar, you see your quarry standing attentively along the eastern wall. She has changed considerably, but you'd still recognize her anywhere. You start rehearsing how to approach her when a sudden scream shatters your concentration. When you look back to the spot on the wall, she's no longer there. You spy her making her way through the maze of tables toward the head table, but chaos springs up around you. What do you do?
So I've got my cloak kind of pulled about me. I mean, obviously, it doesn't fully conceal me for what I am, but I mean, unless you really look.
Yeah.
I would say I probably draw my rapier and run for the head table.
Okay. Alar, you're in the back, calmly tightening up your lute strings during the toast. Brokos is suddenly standing in front of you, probably preparing to beg once again to play percussion. His abrupt appearance causes you to over-tighten the string, and it breaks with a dull twang.
Oh, no.
You give Brokos a reproachful glare, and he stands there dully unmoving. You order him to quickly fetch a new string, but a sudden scream draws your attention to the front of the room, and you see the same horrific scene. What do you do?
But I didn't even get to play.
Hope I still get paid.
Oh, at least we got the 50.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
at least he got half.
Yeah.
Right? You got credit at the company store. Anything special?
So the doors are closed.
The doors are closed.
We're in the back.
You're in the way back, but the doors are more towards the other end.
Are there doors out on this side?
There are not doors on this side. So you have a little bit of benefit in that no one seems, there are fewer guests way at the back, and so you haven't been targeted yet. But
Targeted? Brokos, I don't think we want to be associated with this.
No, I think we best leave.
I agree.
okay.
Let's look for an exit.
Okay. So, Brokos,
Yes.
you approach Alar, who seems really anxious for such an allegedly gifted and seasoned performer,
I'm not anxious.
and think you should probably offer to back him up with percussion. He gives the peg that he is nervously twisting one too many turns, and the string snaps with a dull twang.
Oh.
He stares stupidly at the broken string, and you immediately spin on your heels to fetch a new one. A scream stops you short, and you spy an intensely gruesome scene at the other side of the enormous hall. What do you do?
I think it's best that we leave.
Okay. So you guys are going to try to make your way towards an exit
This makes me very uncomfortable.
without being
I like
seen.
how you anticipate me well, Brokos.
Okay, I'm going to ask
I do
you
let him
guys
give a compliment on how he looks
to each,
before this all happens.
I'm going to ask you guys to
I
each
just
roll
bought
a 20.
this cloak. I don't want to get blood on it.
Ooh,
You're just sliding along the
I
back
like that.
wall
I
there.
like that roll.
This is the first set of new clothes I've had in 20
So we're
10
rolling-
years.
Rolling 20s.
Rolling 20s
Are we
for...
adding something to this 20?
No.
What?
It's just for show.
Just a straight roll.
It's just a straight
Just
roll.
to roll something.
Just a luck.
I need to work
Total
on this
luck
First
voice.
roll of the
It's
season.
Not, it's not here yet. Just a straight roll.
Yeah. That voice is getting better.
I have to work on it.
Still waiting to hear what Kragar sounds like, but
I think we've heard him.
A little bit.
a little bit. He had some good ones that he was warming up to, but so Triss, what did you get?
A 19.
19.
Wow.
Nice.
Hmm.
Okay, Kragar,
8.
8. Brokos,
10.
10. Alar,
11.
11. Okay. So, the steady press of the desperate slaves has corralled all of you against one wall. You now have more allies to cover your flank, but you don't really know all these people, and trust is hard to earn in the middle of a life and death fight. Anything else you want to do? You're sort of backed against a wall,
So does she have
surrounded by a mob.
Does she have the bride with her?
She managed to grab the bride, and we'll say since she rolled so well, she managed to get her out of there. And she's non-combatant, obviously, and very stunned and shocked. But you do have her.
Yay.
I'm going to look at who I think my friend is and say, if you don't mind, sir, and I'm going to touch his elbow and cast guidance on him.
All right.
Just in case.
Okay. Perfect. Let's.
It's a D4 to any of your
Anyone else doing anything?
rolls.
Thank you.
I am looking for the exit.
Okay. So you're trying to back away towards the exit. Let's roll again.
And, I mean, I'm going to try to talk to her.
Okay. All right. Triss.
I got a 14.
Nice. You're rolling pretty well. Kragar.
Yay.
5.
Not so well.
Doing worse.
Brokos.
I'll see your 5 and get you a 3.
Oh,
Oh,
Alar.
13.
13. Not too bad.
Improving all the time.
Okay.
Practice.
Fortunately, not good enough. You battle ferociously, but more and more slaves turn to you as other attendees and bodyguards fall. You eventually begin to tire, sucking in deep, ragged breaths that seem to have no effect. Exhausted mentally and physically, you examine the ring of fierce slaves, desperation and hope etched into their equally tired faces. One final charge, and you fall beneath a withering hail of fists and clubs.
All of us?
Yep. And that's the end of the season. That was easy.
Are
On
you
to
gonna kill
season
any
3.
yet?
This is another drowning, Jerry.
Are you
It's not another
you're not supposed to
drowning.
start with that.
I can't believe these guys brought me down already.
So we'll let you know when season 3 starts.
Thank you,
No.
everybody.
It's just a narrative piece to get you going.
Uh-huh.
You know, I rolled a 19, so if anyone's curious, I was kind of rolling against you.
Do they have any railroads in Vadrigan?
Yeah.
I just love all the comments after I really screw you guys over. But you wake only to realize that you're imprisoned in the slave quarters below the mansion. Sturdy chains and stout locks prevent you from escaping, as do the guards stationed outside your door. Most of them are quite cruel, but one, named Rufus, occasionally throws scraps of food into your cell. He also brings you fresh water and empties the other bucket that you use to relieve yourself almost every day. Sometimes he even gets the buckets correct.
How long have we been here?
It's been a while. Rufus likes to talk, and you learn that the city continues to suffer. After the uprising, people traveled freely between neighborhoods looking for lost friends or relatives, but now different factions have sprung up, each claiming part of the city as their own. Travel in many parts of Vadrigan has been curtailed, and several factions appear on the brink of open hostility. Meanwhile, the Baron's troops bombard strategic parts of the city, contributing to the dwindling supplies of both food and hope. The slaves of Vadrigan are as free as they ever were, and they now face eventual starvation. Rufus is really dissatisfied with the leadership at the mansion, and he reports that, a lot of people have already left. And he's looking for some better prospects elsewhere, or maybe a way off the island completely. He talks often about, leaving and never returning, and one day that actually happens. And more time passes. And you start off with a room full of other prisoners, people from the wedding feast, and one by one they drag people out, mostly well-to-do merchants, minor nobles, and they're never seen again. You all are left there until finally, after days and days and days of imprisonment, you are left with just one fellow prisoner. And you find out this man's name is Gimbal Turncoal, and he's, past middle age, a merchant, but he has one talent that is extremely useful in this situation, and that he is able to create good berries, which he shares with you. And this sustains you after Rufus leaves for the weeks and weeks of your imprisonment.
Okay.
So that's where you're at. Anybody want to try to do anything?
Season 2, The Darkening.
Wow. Like,
It
so
gets-
who
it gets much
who's
darker.
imprisoned us, and where are we imprisoned?
The slaves.
The slaves, yeah.
Yeah. So there was a massive slave revolt throughout the city that seemed to be coordinated. Remus Nova, being the arrogant sort of upstart, pit lord that he was, he was one of the few that decided to stay. He had planned this wedding. He wanted to stay for it. He thought people were foolish for leaving the city, leaving it to, be unguarded, leaving it to slaves and unsavory types. So he was one of the few that stuck around, and it turns out that was a really bad decision, because this was obviously a coordinated event that occurred throughout the city. And your captors are basically the slaves that used to work for Remus, and maybe a few others that have drifted in, and people are coming and going and trying to find lost loved ones and friends and things like that. So but there are guards. You have seen them, and they have been not too kind. And Gimbal seems to be the only one besides the four of you that has lasted in this dank basement cell for this long. You don't know what happened to the other people that were here with you that they would drag out. They just kind of would drag them out, and they're gone.
Okay.
Well, I'll spend my days composing songs about the uprising,
Nice.
having been a first-hand witness.
Good sonnet. Little air lute.
A little air lute, absolutely.
Awesome. Anybody else?
Good.
I mean, so
I'll try to actually, it sounds like Rufus is already gone, but, I'll be trying to win favor with the guards, sort of casting their struggles in a positive, heroic light in the songs that I write. But obviously that doesn't seem to...
Yeah. Okay. Why don't you roll, like, persuasion?
Okay, sure. And I rolled a 2.
All right.
That's a 7.
So the guards that are outside your door, they seem to be playing cards. You try to catch their attention, and promise to, make them famous through, song and
Struggle of the
yeah.
people. The breaking of the chains.
One of them comes over and he kind of laughs at you, and he unlocks the first gate. He comes in, and then he tries to urinate in your general direction.
Oh.
So, not impressed by your promises. And he's definitely kind of the ringleader of the jerks.
Well, I respect all reviews, but
that's maybe not one you wanted to see. So after some time, it's that guard who was out there that night, and suddenly you hear this loud crash, and you manage, with your chains, everyone's straining at their chains, trying to see what happened through this, the cell doors, and
so we're actually in chains in the...
Yep, in a room. So you look out, you're try to lean over and stretch as much as you can to see out into the other room, and you see the remains of that guard. A gigantic boulder has crashed through the wall of the mansion and basically landed right on top of him. Sort of Wicked Witch of the whatever,
Mm-hmm.
And so he's been crushed, and you're like thinking, hey, that's awesome, got what's coming to him, and maybe you can find a way out.
Is there any rats or rodents in here running around?
Funny you should say that. Shortly afterwards, you hear squeaking of rodents outside of the cell door. Like maybe they've come streaming in through the hole that was made by this boulder. And
Good job, Brokos. Good job.
I'm going to ask you now to roll some initiative.
They're
Yeah.
tasty.
That's what they're saying about us.
And you guys can pull up your
Oh.
map. And it's down in the lower right corner of your map. You should see where all the action is.
We got a new feature on here.
What's that?
You can just go like this,
Yeah, that's
and you can just go like that. So a scale.
scale quicker.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Oh, you might need to refresh that. It looks like you've maybe got the old map up there. Let's see.
Nope.
No luck?
No luck. Just black.
Yeah, let me see if I can fix that. And
There we go.
Ah.
aha! Technology for the win.
We're really going to fight rats in our first episode, Jerry. It's the biggest D&D cliche ever.
I know. You know I'm all about cliches, right? I mean, you have to know that about me. So yes, you do hear some squeaking, and your friend Gimbal, he's up against, he's got his back to the wall next to the door, and he can't see what's going on, and he's like, what is it? What's going on? What's going on out there?
Don't
What
kill
happened?
Gimbal. I'm really attached to him, Jerry. The deep characterization.
You
You
need to channel some Elrond here. Kind of let go of all those attachments. So he looks really panicked and scared because he can hear the noise too, and some of them, I'd say, a good portion of the rats start gnawing away at the corpse of your guard out here. So you got that going for you. But eventually, a few of the smaller ones make their way in, and they start attacking your friend there,
see,
your source of good berries, right?
Ugh.
he doesn't deserve this, Jerry.
So, Alar, the rat in front of you right now on the map, your chains will probably stretch if you guys coordinate together, because they're all kind of looped together and through rungs on the wall. So
We all have one chain.
basically, yeah. So Kragar can...
It's how we can share the bucket.
Oh,
It is,
Wow.
exactly. I had to put some serious thought into how you would all share the bucket.
You're seeing us at our best.
okay. Well,
You really are.
yeah, we really do.
Descent into madness. Now you know
Wow.
how I spent my evening last night.
I'm very heartbroken that my brand new cloth and my threads are dirtied now, and I probably in shreds.
Oh, they're not just dirty.
This is the nicest outfit I've ever had.
It
Now
is
it's been
so,
soiled.
Yeah.
It's so gross now.
So
You
gross.
can't even.
It's disgusting. Yeah. You don't want to. You don't even want to clean up after
I
yourself.
normally
with
don't
it.
have nice things.
Well, I lost my first real job, so you know.
I'm not going to get that extra gold.
So, what do you want to do? Krager would have to give you some slack in the chain so you could reach that rat before it consumes your friend.
Reach that rat and do what?
Kick it, punch it.
Do we have initiative or what?
Oh yeah, we have to do
Yeah.
initiative. That's always good. And let's see. I'm so not used to these new pawns or tokens that I created for you guys. So hope that's fine. And there you go. Alar, what did you get?
I got a 13.
Not bad. Kragar.
9.
Triss.
I wasted a 20.
Say wasted.
Oh, yeah.
Brokos.
You also have a
17.
bonus. So.
Oh, yeah. And I got a 22 with my, sorry.
Wow.
And there we go. Triss, you are obviously first.
But there's clearly no way I can reach the rat.
No, no way you can reach the rat, but the bucket is closest to you.
Oh my God.
So you could maybe use it as a,
Improvised weapon.
yeah.
Please don't. I'm over here.
Don't miss.
I'm actually going to cast Thaumaturgy
There you go.
Oh, nice.
and create a. It says I can create an instantaneous sound that originates from a point of your choice, such as a rumble of thunder, the cry of. So I've got some choices there. So I'm going to try and make a sound that will startle the rats away from our friend.
Okay. Why don't you just roll me a straight 20 for that?
Ugh, that's a 10.
Oh.
Told you I wasted my 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I rolled a 20, so so they look, and turn and look at you and pause what they're doing. So you maybe bought Gimbal a few moments, but they go right back to nibbling at him, and he's now screaming and help me, help me! Don't just look at me, Bard, help! Just kidding. Brokos, you're next.
I would like to use a free action to get their attention.
Okay.
Starts moving quite, and then hold my turn until they come near where I can touch them, or they touch me.
All right. Why don't you roll for me?
Okay. What am I rolling?
Just whatever. 20. Just a straight 20.
12.
12. Okay. So I'll say this one starts to move over in your direction. And you manage to lure it over to you by looking like a tasty snack.
Okay. When it gets to me, so can I hold my turn? Is that considered held?
Sure.
I will cast Beast Bond.
Beast Bond.
Yes, and it is a 2 intelligence, so it automatically fails its cast.
Mm-hmm.
So until the spell ends, 10 minutes, the link is active when the beasts are within sight of each other. Through the link, the beast can understand my telepathic message to it, and I can communicate simple emotions and concepts back to you. When the link is active, the beast gains advantage on... Okay, so basically, I'm going to try to calm it and befriend it, let us know that we are not... morsels.
Okay. So we'll say that one is being lulled by your spell right now and is out of the fight. It's not going to attack you or anything. And it is their turn. So that one's just like, ooh, totally enchanted with whatever you did to it. The one down here is going to...
And it can also telepathically give me emotions and concepts back to me as well.
Okay. So you kind of know they're...
Yeah, I just want to say do not fear.
Okay. They're really hungry. You get that sense.
As am I.
Okay. This one's going to come up and try to attack you, Alar.
Hey there, little buddy.
You got a 17?
I'm assuming I have no armor on.
Right.
Yeah, so that's going to hit me.
Okay. So it nibbles at you for 3 points of damage, which you take very gracefully. And this one is going to attack our friend. I'm rolling hot, and it feels like a waste, too. Gimbal, and that is going to be a hit. And Alar, your turn.
Okay, well, now you've damaged me. Now I'm annoyed. I'm going to cast Id Insinuation on the creature that just bit me.
Okay.
And get it into its mind, fill it with a torrent of conflicting desires, impairing its ability to make decisions.
Oh.
So it gets to make a wisdom save.
Okay. And they probably aren't too wise, right?
You tell me.
It's probably a failure since it's a 7.
Okay, it fails.
Okay. And so
and it
now
will take damage on the end of its next turn.
Oh, it will.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. And Kragar, what do you got?
So can I yank on the chain to move forward 10 feet?
Can
Get
we
to the one in
move?
front
Do
of-
we have any...
Yes. So basically, if you guys all went up to the wall where you're at, someone could have 10 feet of leeway.
Okay, so I don't see a pond for where Gimbal is.
He is this figure here. He's just part of the map.
Okay, well, I
That
would
doesn't-
basically want to pull on the chain so I can move 10 feet towards Alar. So
Okay.
like down 1 over 2.
Uh-oh.
Whoa.
Ah,
What happened?
chaos. class.
There we go.
I'm grabbing my I'm
What would it
grabbing
be
that
that for?
icon, and it's moving the whole map. Like,
There
Well,
we go.
that's convenient. Perfect.
So, I mean, can I move that far?
Uh,
Or is it
or
right
maybe
one?
like that.
Well, I would want to go down one.
yeah.
Like here.
You can get there.
There.
There. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so basically I want to just lunge forward and then reach out and slash with my claws at the one in front of Alar.
Sounds good. You got that weird reach thing going
Yeah.
on?
And off to a fantastic start. That'll be an 11.
An 11. And what does that do? That does not do the trick. Oh wait, on this one, I'll give that to you since it's currently confused and whatever.
Well, in fairness, I was checking. It doesn't say that it affects AC. Incapacitated just means it can't do anything. It can't do reactions either, but
Okay.
it doesn't affect AC or anything else.
Yeah. Seems weird. Yeah, I'll still give it to you.
Okay, well, that would be 4 damage.
4 damage. All right.
And it looks like unarmed strikes can't be used as bonus action.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Back to you, Triss.
It's too bad.
So your slack is all taken up by Kragar pulling on the chain. But you still have the bucket.
I can still reach the bucket?
It was, you were the one using it last, so.
Oh, cool. All right.
Sorry.
So,
She hoards it.
all right. So, fine. I will grab the bucket
Okay.
and I will throw the bucket at the rat still gnawing on. What's his name?
Gimbal.
Gimbal.
All right. Throw it.
Oh, gosh. That's a 6.
Okay. So the bucket goes flying and splashes against the wall and gets the rat a little wet, but that's about it.
Now I
Brokos.
don't even have a.
I would like to convince my new friend.
I think I knew where you're going with that.
Yeah. I pulled it back.
I would like to convince my new friend that his rats are also food, and that he should go kill the rats and eat them.
Okay. So you work on your rat, and you plant that thought in its head, which is not too far from a rat's thoughts anyway. And it does wander back on its turn and tries to attack. Let's see. It will attack.
It's an advantage on attacks too.
Oh, it does. Nice. So it's going to attack the one on Alar.
You give it advantage on attacks?
Yep,
Wow.
would be fun.
That's crazy. So that is a failure, and that is a hit, and that's going to be 3 damage on yours, which brings it down.
And it's still not dropped?
No, it dropped.
Okay.
So the one in front of you, Alar, has dropped because the other rat came up behind and bit it. This one is still going to attack
Clearly my
Gimbal.
spell did it.
And that is a miss, so he misses Gimbal. And now it is Alar, your turn.
I'm going to cast Mind Sliver on the other rat, not the one that just attacked my rat. I
Okay.
guess I don't know, actually. So I probably would do the Beast Spawn rat.
Okay. Beast Spawn rat.
I don't know if Brokos has ever really talked to me about your talents, or if I listened.
You can do what I do and just roll a d4 and
Okay. I'll do that.
let fate decide.
Nope. It's Beast Spawn rat.
Okay.
So this is an intelligence save.
All right. So
Oh,
that's
they have an intelligence of -4.
Exactly.
all right.
So I drive a spike of psychic energy into its tiny little brain
All right.
and do 2 points of damage.
2 points of damage. All right. So
Halar!
Could I feel that if I'm telepathically linked with it?
Sorry, man.
Ooh.
oh,
Ouchie.
maybe
Ouchie.
you're gonna have a headache. So yeah, it starts squeaking crazily, and you can tell that you did some damage to it. And Kragar, what are you gonna do? The one you were attacking is now dead. You're kind of at the end of your chain, so to speak.
So I should still be able to reach the other one now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll not use that die. Use a different die. I'll try to slash it apparently with this beast spawn one, but I don't know what's going on. That'll be a 16 to hit,
That is a hit.
and it'll be 4 damage.
Wow. Okay. So you do some serious damage to the rat, and it looks like it is just barely hanging on to life. And looks really confused. Keeps looking back at Brokos for some reason.
I'm just shaking my head.
Triss, back to you. Top of the order.
I yell some words of encouragement.
Okay, to the rats or
No.
okay.
Craig, go. You've got this.
Okay. So she yells encouragement, and Brokos.
I'm going to use my free action to shout, "No, it is our friend!"
Okay.
And then I'm going to tell the rat to attack the last one, and say, "That is the one that's hurting you."
Okay, and still get advantage on that?
Yep. All attacks.
Yes, we know Gimble's our friend.
Well, I got 2 10s, so that does not quite do it. So the rat tries to bite its friend, but it's so injured. Doesn't seem to make
I'm just trying to get them to pick a fight with each other.
I
Yeah.
know, man. I know.
much of a dent in it. And it's the rats. And that one is done doing his thing. That is a hit. And that's going to be, oh no, 4 damage. That is going to put an end to Gimbal, but we'll say he's unconscious, getting nibbled on by the rats. So that rat's still alive. The other rat is hanging on by a thread. Actually, the rat that just chomped down on Gimbal is undamaged. So,
Could you put skulls up on them?
oh
So I
yeah,
can see?
sorry.
We don't know which one.
It's been a while since I've had to do all this stuff. So, for the people watching the video of this, my apologies for the poor map movement because I'm just getting used to that. Anyway, so that one is dead. You can see it now on the map. This one's hanging on by a thread, the Beast Bond one, and the other one is untouched, and it is Alar's turn.
Gimbal, we will remember you always. I'll write you into my next epic. Unfortunately, I don't think I got a good insight check to be able to understand what you were saying, Broko, so I'm going to do a mind sliver at that same rat again.
Oh,
Okay.
So roll an intelligence save.
I don't think it's
It might
it's worse than
automatically
last
fail.
time.
Yeah,
so
pretty
6.
much, right? Only one.
1 damage,
1 damage.
and it brings it down,
Huzzah!
and that one drops.
Alar.
And you look over and see Brokos like shaking his head. He looks really in pain for some reason. You don't know why.
Why do I keep telling him that he's so smart?
He's always talking nonsense. You're only half listening all the time anyway. So,
I tell you I'm smart, but that doesn't mean I am smart.
Kragar, what are you going to do?
I mean, I'll ready an attack as soon as that thing steps forward.
Okay. And so you're going to ready an attack. Triss, more encouragement from you?
I will do the same futile action that I've apparently probably done many times before and trying to figure out how to slip my bonds.
Okay. I'll let you roll for it since it's all chaos now. You've got this huge creature straining at the chain.
7.
7. Okay. Yes, pretty futile effort. You thought maybe you could slip out with all the desperation and sweat now running down your body, but no such luck. And it is Brokos. Back to you.
So these chains, these manacles, is there a lock on them?
There is a lock.
And that key, it's been a key lock, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to try to lure the other one over to me.
Oh, okay. I'll let you roll for it.
Okay.
It's going to be hard since he has kind of a free meal just sitting right there in the form of old Gimbal.
I don't get to use persuasion. 12.
12, okay.
It's stupid.
No such luck. He's just chomping away at Gimbal's toes, and he is...
Would that be considered my full action? Just
Uh,
a free action to get it over?
sure, I'll let you do your...
Okay. I'm going to cast Ice Knife then and end this.
There you
Okay.
go.
Sorry, little one. And that is a 19.
That is definitely a hit.
And I do 8 points of cold damage.
Whoa.
Nice trick, Brokos.
Yeah, where you been holding that one? Okay, so...
I try to save lives.
That's a good point. So the rat drops dead as it's taking its last bite out of Gimbal's big toe. And,
Oh, I'm sorry, piercing damage. So either way.
okay. So you guys are there, still trapped in this room, but the immediate threat seems to have been taken care of. Gimbal suddenly kind of comes to, and you can just barely make out his voice. Sounds very strained. And you listen to his labored breathing, gurgling breaths, and you're powerless to help him. But then suddenly you hear clearly, "Find the foreman." You don't know what that means. Is he just rambling?
Gimbal, do you have any berries left?
Well, for him,
Find
not
the
for.
foreman.
I'm just eat one. They will heal you. You should know this.
Find the foreman. The foreman. Find him.
Okay, after you eat the berry, I've got to work on this.
I'm just gonna try to go crazy and break the chains and
Okay.
Just throwing us around.
Go crazy!
Roll for crazy.
Come on, bugbear.
You can roll again.
Oh, but
Unless
it was
to
gonna
your
be
favor.
really good,
cockeyed 19.
and that's
Oh.
not.
No, that'd be a 9.
That's why you
Okay.
should roll in the
Yeah, I was gonna
dice
say, why are
tray.
you?
So you're all straining, and he manages to look to you, and he says, "As a younger man, I was stationed at the Dreadgate." And you see him kind of slowly pull himself up, and then he reaches into his pocket and he pulls out a good berry, and he pops it into his mouth.
There you go.
And then you see it just wash over him, and he's like, color returns to his face,
Oh, thank goodness.
and he's still holding still holding on to his toe, which is pretty mangled. He's not actually holding his toe in his hand, but he's got his leg curled up next to him, and he's holding on, kind of rocking back and forth. And he's like, "Thank you, my friends. I was sort of out of it. I don't even know what I said. My apologies. Thank you.
Well, I'm glad you survived. Although I can't promise you a starring role in an epic anymore, but
And
tell us about the foreman.
the foreman? What are you talking about?
You were going on and on about the foreman.
I was?
Yeah.
Well, as a younger man, I was stationed at the Dreadgate. I'm sorry to say I was recently engaged to my dear Marguerite, and I paid a man to sneak her into the fortress one night. I guess I must have thought in whatever state I was in that he might be able to find the man, and he might know a way off the island, perhaps into the fortress. I guess that's always a possibility, but it was so many years ago.
The foreman at the Dreadgate.
Yes, so he was stationed at the Dreadgate, which is the fortress that's across this bridge on the mainland. And so he was there, and something that people, I guess, routinely did, he learned about it from another soldier there, that there was some person who could smuggle things and people into the fortress if the pay was right. And they were pretty sure that, he had a different route other than going across the bridge, because it's pretty obvious, and everything is searched going back and forth. So he must have had some other way. Maybe he, risked taking a boat over, but the channel in between the island and the mainland is really terrible currents, really hard to navigate, especially in a small craft. They watch the water pretty closely for people trying to swim it, and which happens. So he's like, he must have felt like there was some other way that this smuggler, who he only knew as the foreman, could get people into the Dreadgate somehow. So that's what he knows. Now you know it.
Yes, we're just hanging.
Well, it's not going to do us any good if we die down here.
So some time passes, and just a matter of an hour or so after this battle, and you do hear some more squeaking out there, but then you start to hear, you're all tuned in, waiting for another, group of rats to come in. But then you hear other sounds, like shouts coming from outside, perhaps, or maybe it's coming down the stairs. You can't see the stairs, but they're around the corner somewhere. You remember that much. And so you hear these sounds, and it sounds like fighting, like sword play happening. And so you're paying really close attention. And suddenly you hear the clomp of heavy feet coming down the stairs. And a dark shadow passes across the cell door, looming larger and larger as it approaches the other room. The tip of a long, slender blade slides into view as it comes through the threshold into the guard room. This blade is followed by a pair of enormous feet and a perfectly round belly that's barely constrained by 3 overworked wooden buttons on a worn tweed vest. And then you see the cherubic and simultaneously grandfatherly looking face of an elderly halfling as he peeks around the corner. "Hello! Well, what do we have here?" And that is where we will end episode 1.
Still imprisoned.
Still imprisoned.
Wow.
But there's someone new there. Someone you don't know. So, yeah. Sounds good?
Season 2 is
Sounds
so
very good.
dark.
Yeah. All right.
You guys did a great job with it. I know it's tough to do this whole intro thing, and but I thought you guys did awesome. Your characters seem super interesting.
And now we're all well acquainted because we've watched each other use the bucket.
Right.
Yes, so there's lots of dialogue that still needs to happen.
Yes.
To fill in all the gaps here. So
Yeah. There's lots
We
of
sort of
dialogue.
skipped the whole.
Was it really dialogue or just hours and hours and hours of you singing?
composing?
I
Sorry,
try.
composing.
all right.
Well, thank you guys for an awesome episode 1, and I'm glad to have you all back. And we'll see what happens in episode 2 of season 2. Right?
Yes.
All right.
I hope.
Okay. Well, to everyone watching the video, we're just going to pause, and you'll get to move right on to the next episode. And for everyone listening on the podcast, we will see you next
Week.
Next week.
Hey, and we're back.
Hey,
There.
How's everybody doing?
Cold
Great.
and
Good.
nasty in the dungeon.
Yeah.
It is a little chilly down here, Jerry.
Does get a little nasty and cold in the dungeon. Yeah, episode 2. Here we are, and everyone's feeling pretty good about it.
Hey, at least Jerry doesn't keep us in chains against the wall.
No,
Yeah.
I've
there-
thought about it.
there's
I
a
have thought
bucket in
about it.
here.
There is the bucket.
Oh.
Yeah,
Gosh.
you do get a bucket.
That's why we have that short break.
Yeah, and I never mix up your water bucket
Bucket
with your,
break.
pee bucket.
Just
so
that
don't worry.
once,
Yeah,
yeah.
just that one time. Which let's not talk about that. You guys. I thought it was a pretty good episode 1. You guys,
I'm sure you did.
Yeah, I'm
came
sure you had
together.
lots of fun, Jerry.
You fought off some rats. I did have a lot of fun.
Good.
You worry so much putting this stuff together, and I was a little stressed out about it. But then, once you start playing, it's just good to be playing a game you love with some friends. So that's what it boils down to, and I had a blast. So obviously, episode 1s are hard. Getting to know new characters and things, but I think you guys did a great job of kind of showing a little bit of who you are and what your
Thank
character's
you.
about. Yeah, especially
I knew I
you.
could do it for you.
Yeah. So it'll be cool to see how that progresses as we move forward. So like I mentioned in episode 1, we don't have the fantastic recapper extraordinaire to lead us in. So does somebody want to tell us just briefly what happened last episode?
Alar was finally recognized for his great talents and invited to a wedding. Unfortunately, fate stepped in, and chaos ensued. He was unfairly imprisoned with a few others, and bravely fought off some rats that assailed them in the dungeons.
Nice.
You know,
Yeah.
something like that.
It's all about Alar, which is awesome. So yeah,
I'm glad you realized that, Jerry.
you guys are still stuck down here, but this little halfling guy came at the last second and poked his head around the corner, and that's kind of where we're at. Anybody have anything they need to say before we get started?
You there, halfling.
We're not started yet.
or we're getting started, apparently. It's very bugbear.
Getting the voice warmed up.
Very bugbear. Okay, well we'll just jump back in, but I should mention to everybody out there again. I'm gonna keep stressing it until we get someone to support us on Patreon. Please go to dungeonpatrol.com and click on the Patreon button, or
Brokos, pass the hat.
yeah, pass the hat. Go to patreon.com/dungeonpatrol to support this and help us keep this going. We're having a lot of fun, so we really want to keep it going. But again, it's hard to do without at least paying a few of the bills, right? And so we appreciate all those people that have signed up to support us, and we're looking for a few more. So if anybody out there has money they just want to throw away, like give to a bard,
It's gift to a bard. It's supporting the arts.
supporting the arts.
That's
I
so
love
true.
that. It makes it
Really should
sound
frame it
so
that way.
classy.
Yeah.
Yeah. You are supporting the arts. So
Alar
feel
needs
free.
a new doublet.
Alar does need.
Oh, yeah.
I think
And a
everybody
new cloak.
needs new everything.
My
so.
cloak has been used for horrible, horrible purposes.
Okay. Well, so thank you all for supporting. If you have money, go and support us. And after that, let's get started, shall we?
We shall.
Okay. So this halfling, he pokes his head around the corner, and as he comes farther in and is taking, sizing up all of you, you can see that he has, kind of a makeshift bandage going across one eye, and it's all like blood is soaking through it, and it's starting to kind of dribble out the bottom. So he's like, well. what do we have here?
Alar Noestri and the Bucket Fillers.
And the Bucket Fillers. Wow, well, that's a clever name, I guess. So, why are you locked up down here?
Wrong place, wrong time.
It's
Yeah?
a simple misunderstanding.
Oh, I bet it is. I bet there's a story to tell. But the thing is, you don't look like you're in too great a shape right now. I hate to leave you here, but obviously you did something, perhaps, to deserve it.
No.
We were all simply hired by...
I'm convinced. No.
Wow, you're more persuasive than I am.
No. Can I roll my persuasion with that? There's a lot of inflection.
Feel free.
It was.
Well, it's an 8.
Okay. So he just kind of chuckles. He puts his hands on his little round belly and chuckles. He's like, oh, why don't you tell me? I would certainly love to set you free. I hate to see people suffer.
We are merely the working class as well. Not quite as oppressed as slaves, of course, but simply trying to earn our coin, working for, what was his name? Remus Nova? I suppose he got what it was coming to him, but just because we were employed temporarily by a slaver does not mean that we endorse slavery, by any means.
Oh, no, just support the system that holds slaves, I suppose.
We were as much enchained in the system as anyone literally in chains.
Yeah, that much I do believe, young man. I do believe and agree with you there. So, you were just here working for Remus Nova.
He had heard of my talents and invited me to play for his wedding feast.
He's like looking around at you and he's nodding and
I play the drums.
so he's like, oh, good for you.
I play the pan flute.
That is surprising.
He's not associated with our band.
I thought he was a bucket filler.
We're in a band, right?
Yes, Alar and the Bucket Fillers.
It would be much more easier to tell you the story if we weren't chained to the walls. Kind halfling, would you perhaps find it in your heart to free us?
The keys should be on that unfortunate soul's body under that stone.
Oh, yes. It looks like his luck did run out, didn't it? Let me see here. I'll be right back. So he marches over there and digs around on the body and shoos some rats away. And he comes back and he unlocks the first gate. And he comes up to the second gate and he's like, I should probably ask, do you have any skills? Anything that might be useful? It's terrible out there. It's really getting quite grim.
I play the drums.
Well, that could come in handy, I suppose.
Yes, if people just give me a chance.
Anything else? Are you good at anything?
I was a trained soldier.
Really? In the Legion?
Yes.
Very good. Very good. Let me see here. And he takes the keys and he opens up the other gate and he comes in and he's fumbling with the keys and
Watch for the puddle.
yep. And he goes over and he releases Gimbal, who's still in really bad shape.
And I am a lyricist, composer, inspirational speaker.
Oh, very, very good. Yes, the two of you should be able to keep our spirits high, in grim times such as these. So,
Well, someone must chronicle the efforts of the slaves rising up against their oppressors.
you can see he's got kind of a big mustache and he kind of rubs it, and he's obviously thinking about that. And he's like, yes, indeed, someone should do that. Good thought. And he goes over and he unlocks Brokos, and he goes around that way, kind of counterclockwise. Triss, Kregar, and
Saving the best for last.
saving the best for last, Alar. And so now you have all been freed by the halfling who introduces
We didn't
himself.
catch your name, sir.
Very good. As Haydn Spurlock. He says that he is a former slave, that rose to some prominence in the Thieves Guild. And actually, he kind of ran the Thieves Guild. And, ran the Thieves Guild. That's what he says.
Oh,
Which guild would that be?
The secret one.
I do know. I am curious which one.
Are you?
The
Were you
Bellfire
in the...
Boys, the Twisted Bones,
I've
the Red Knives.
yes, all those, yes, indeed.
I push past him and walk into the other room,
It's like, oh, that's
rubbing my wrists and starting to look for any gear.
okay. So you push past, and he's like, my dear old mother, she always said you can never have too many friends. So please consider yourselves friends of Haydn Spurlock.
and what do you do in this post-revolution town now, Mr. Spurlock?
Well, I should tell your friend there not to wander too far. I have with me a group of Thurngari pirates that are helping me go house to house to save people. And
You're a looter.
well,
I
I
think
am
we could
saving people by providing them with food and supplies that I find in my journeys. Yes. If you want to call it looting, then by all means, I shan't deny it.
It's all about the words you put around it.
I'm going to search the guard. Did he have a weapon?
I was going to do that.
Okay, so
Tris goes up too.
you go. Yes, you do find he has a very sturdy-looking club and a dirk on him. So dagger.
I proffer.
Club.
Pick your poison.
I will take the dagger. You may have the club.
All right, I'll brandish the club and finish searching him.
Does he have a mandolin on him?
No mandolin, unfortunately. But you never know what you'll find upstairs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you guys now are free of the cell. And again, he's like, just wait up, don't go too far there, young fella. You don't want to run into my friends without introductions.
Yes, I see, but that room is filthy and stinks. We would like to get out of it.
It's full of dead rats too.
Yes.
So he leads you up the stairs, and they're going through a bunch of bodies of apparently were the slaves that inhabited the mansion, Remus Nova's former slaves. They're going through the bodies and kind of digging things out, and you can see they're loading things up and taking stuff outside. There's a group of very rough-looking, sturdy, broad-shouldered, young, bearded pirate types. Think Vikings, right? So that's who he's with.
So little halfling, big Vikings.
Yep.
Okay.
Little halfling, big Vikings. And so he runs over there and he goes up to one of them who's just, kind of looks at him disdainfully and then he's like, hey, Finley, pardon me. I found these people locked up downstairs, and I let them out, and they're going to join us. I know Wolf Canute would not like that, but I think he would like to meet these young people. I think they might have something to offer. That one over there, she's a soldier, so I think they could come in handy. So we're going to bring them back with us, okay? And this person he's talking to, Finley, just kind of grunts and, looks at you and gives you, baleful stare and then looks away and continues to pack up stuff.
I stare back at him with my blank black eyes.
Oh, creepy. Very creepy. So he's kind of moved on and, just kind of grunts again and starts packing up.
No, he feels my black stare.
Okay. You see him shiver a little bit
That's
as he
right.
turns around. So your new friend Hayden, he's like, do we have any clothes or goods or anything, any food for these people? Do we have anything we can share with them? Hey,
We're looking for our gear.
your gear, probably long gone by now. I don't know how long you've been down there, but
At least a whole episode.
felt like over
we
an
do not
hour.
know either.
Way over
It's
an
been a
hour.
very long time.
So he tries to track down some stuff for you, and none of these pirates are giving him anything. He gets his hand slapped a few times, but then he kind of walks back over and he's like, I'm sorry. I wish I could give you more, but we have orders from Wolf Canute, and we'll bring all this back. And then if you get into the group, then you'll get your fair share. But for right now, and he kind of looks around, he's like, take these in case you need them, and he hands you a couple of vials of healing potion. So you have two.
What?
It's like, I found them at the bottom of a crate at the house next door.
I pocket one.
Okay.
Well, thank you, good Haydn.
Yes.
As you
yes.
can see, I've taken damage in my battle with these rats.
I know how tough it can be, and you look like you've been through quite an ordeal. Quite the ordeal. It's like, as a former, master of thieves in this town, I think I know, when people are struggling, and I believe you are the sort to be in need of this sometime in the future.
So will you take us to meet this Wolf Canute?
Ah, yes. We'll be heading there now. Our carts are full, and we'll be heading to Wolf Canute and the rest of the group, of course.
I mean, so are we able to search this place too?
Yeah. I will say, let's see. I'll give you. So it looks like it's been pretty well picked over. You sort of learn from Haydn that it's kind of like turned into a barter economy pretty quickly after the uprising. There was a couple of weeks of just sheer decadence and people eating and feasting and drinking to their heart's delight. And then he said that that's why he grouped up with Wolf Canute, that Wolf Canute saw ahead and realized that they're trapped on this island and they might be here, and the smart thing for the Baron to do would be to wait until they all starve, get too weak to fight back. So he tells you that there's most things have been picked over. If these people knew what they were doing, they squirreled the best stuff away, and probably these guys already found it, if you know what I mean.
Well, I'll just keep an eye out for anything that was mine.
Okay. So you watch as they pack things up. They have a couple of carts outside full of stuff, some, moldy food and some, clothes and little bits of armor. And you do see a couple of handles of rusty blades sticking out of the pile. And so there's stuff in there that you might want to look at, but it's hands off now until you can prove yourselves the Wolf Canute, I guess. And the other guys...
I will be sure to help Gimbal along since he's, had some of his toe nibbled off. I'm sure he's, struggling to walk at this point.
Forgot about the toe. He's still holding on to it. And so you guys...
You said it was still attached, so that makes it even more awkward.
I wish I wouldn't have. I wish I would have just kept it going with him holding it in his hand. But you're walking along, and Haydn's just all kinds of talk, and he's just kind of yammering on, and and he ran the Thieves Guild in this town for 40 years.
You talk a lot. Are all halflings like that?
Well, I'm not really sure. I haven't met most halflings. I just know myself, son. But yes, I do tend to talk a lot, you know. But you know what my old mom used to say? Talk is cheap. So if you want me to be quiet, I will.
No, it's nice to have a new voice.
Okay. So he keeps talking and kind of gets you up to
Still have a
speed.
headache from that psychic damage.
I didn't know you were controlling it.
So you walk down the once pristine cobblestone street that runs perpendicular to the Nova mansion. You immediately see the toll that the last several weeks has taken on this wealthy section of town. Burned and battered structures, streets filled with all sorts of refuse, and downed trees on once manicured grounds. Haydn and his men, all grim-looking pirate types, walk purposefully and without fear. Eventually, you arrive at a large, steep hill, mostly rock and scraggly trees. You see a path ahead, just wide enough for a horse and a cart, which Haydn follows. After some minutes hiking up the slope, you arrive at a large outcropping of rock that is surrounded by hundreds of pirates and a smattering of other humanoids, all with hungry, wolf-like eyes that stare warily as you approach the camp. Suddenly you hear a shout come through the crowd. Haydn! You miserable runt! What have you brought me now? And the crowd sort of parts, and you see one man approach. He's not particularly large or imposing, but he has this feral energy that you can almost feel. And he walks through the crowd, dark eyes, dark hair, a thick beard that does little to hide a multitude of horrible scars. The man's face suddenly splits into a wide grin, and he's like, I see that you lost an eye. When will Rel ever give you what you ask for? You must be the most luckless halfling I've ever met in my life. And then he lets out a huge laugh, and all of the men around kind of laugh. And then you look at Haydn, and he's just kind of chuckling along with them. And smiling, totally oblivious. And then he's like, Wolfganute, I brought you some new people for our band here. I think they could help out. And Wolfganute looks at you, and he gives you the, once over. And he's like, Haydn, food, ale, lamp oil, not more mouths to feed. And the smile stays on his face, but he turns to look at you, and he's obviously far from happy. And Haydn explains that you have skills. You were a legionnaire. You were, and explains the whole situation to him. And he's like, so you have skills. Let's see now. Just over that ridge, I've got a group of fools holed up in a villa that's built like a fortress. I've tried to find a peaceful way in, but that failed. Give me that villa, and we'll embrace you.
Well, I'm sure with my silver tongue, we'll just open that door right away.
Okay.
And if not, I'm sure my brawny friends here will be able to take care of any dangerous actions. And I'll tell the tale.
Well, we're ill-equipped at the moment. We need our supplies and gear.
Wolfganute kind of laughs, but then Haydn's like, they've been locked away for quite some time. I think they're underfed, they're malnourished. They have no gear. You can't expect them to go into battle without gear. That wouldn't be the Therengari way, would it? We should at least equip them for some success. Right, Wolfganute? And he just kind of snorts and looks at Haydn, and then he's like, fine. Give them what they need. Let them pick through the carts. And give them a hot meal.
Thank goodness.
All right.
We'll dig through the carts.
Okay, so you dig through the carts. So basically you find rough, worn equivalents of the stuff that you had before. Obviously, nothing so fancy as the clothes that you had, that you just purchased, but you do find sturdy, reasonably clean equivalents, and you find armor. So you're kind of back to where you were, just not the same stuff. Instruments, a little bit harder, but you do find a mandolin that has seen better days, but it seems serviceable. I just had to let you play that,
Thank
right?
you.
So you have an instrument, and Brokos, you can make a drum out of anything, right?
Yes.
Had to think about it. So you guys are kind of back to where you were.
Find a pair of spoons.
There you go.
Yeah, a pair of spoons. That would be nice.
You bring those next session.
Thank you. Oh, so you're saying you give me a tryout?
We've been doing duets in that dungeon for a long time, so it's all
Yes,
good,
I've
man.
been banging against
audition.
using the chains as a tambourine, kind of rattling sound.
Which, of course, everybody else in the chain feels every time you do that.
Yeah,
No, that is my instrument.
the chains.
The chains, the tambourine. That is my instrument.
That's true. That's supposed to be hers.
That's a good point.
Go back to your bongos.
I bet Gimbal is just so happy to be out of that room. Like, just give me someplace quiet. Someplace quiet.
So what about general equipment? We're gonna be breaking in. I'm looking for like a crowbar and some rope and.
Yep. There's rope. If you need thieves' tools or anything like that. Hammer.
Yeah, I mean these are the things that I had before.
Yep.
Okay.
Are we going to be able to rest?
Yes, you can get a hot meal, and you can rest up. But tomorrow, Wolf Canute wants that villa.
So, do we want to give Wolf Canute this villa?
I don't know who's actually in charge of this city now.
It's a good point. You could ask Haydn.
That'd be useful.
Okay. So
Yeah,
Who's
if
in this
if we're
fort?
sitting around. I mean, where are we at?
you are on the edge of Horncliffe, the Horncliffe section, the wealthy part of town. So over this ridge, Haydn tells you is a villa that kind of overlooks the rest of the town. It is built very well, sort of like a miniature fortress itself. But Wolf Canute thinks it would give him, a good sight of much of Old Town, even down as far as Black Alley and up to High Cobble. And so he wants this for strategic reasons and to kind of make it his base of operations. Haydn can tell you that Wolf Canute has kind of united most of this side of the island. Not everybody. There are probably thousands and thousands of former slaves on the island who are getting by one way or another. Most of them are like totally not involved in these faction wars that have started to, happen. But Wolf Canute is kind of the master of this faction that seems to have kind of the upper hand right now on this part of the island. And they are all, I sent you some notes beforehand about the ships being burned in the harbor. And so they were all refugees. So the city enslaved all of these refugees from the Thurngari Islands and took them in, enslaved them, and once the uprising happened, they were all like mostly together, and they all quickly banded together, and that's why they've been successful, because they only recently.
They knew each other. They had that. Yeah.
Yep.
Why were they refugees?
They were refugees because of the mists that you encountered
Yes.
in season 1.
Ooh.
So,
No good.
yeah. The mists still covered most of their island homes, and you find out from Haydn that a lot of the refugees, a lot of the Thuringari refugees, started calling Wolf Canute Mistbreaker for the fact that he's the one that rescued them and got them onto ships and broke free of the mist, and unfortunately brought them to Vadragan, where they were enslaved. But now, and Haydn is happy to tell you that he really believes Wolf Canute's a good guy. That Wolf Canute has a lot going on upstairs, has a lot of plans. He's looking down the road a ways. He knows, he's anticipating what the Baron's going to do, and he wants to plan for the future. You know, he's got people looking to build boats. He's got people looking to grow food. He's got people, you know, making all sorts of plans, and he's been negotiating with some other faction leaders in other parts of town, trying to really unite people. So Haydn said, yeah, he's rough around the edges. He's a pirate after all, but basically a really good guy.
And so he's trying to take over the island.
Yeah. Yep.
Or at least survive.
Yep. Unite people long enough to survive. The common wisdom that Haydn shares with you is that the Baron only really has 500 soldiers with him in the fortress. Going up against thousands of slaves, it's just never going to happen. So he's got to wait. You know, his only chance is to wait it out. Let everyone starve.
Where's the fortress at? Is that the one that's on the other side of the Dread Gate?
Yep. The fortress is called Dreadgate,
Okay.
but it's just on the other side of the bridge.
But what about Fishbelly? Are there not docks and piers that people can sail from?
Mostly there's small boats for fishing, you know, like casting nets out in the calmer side of the water. And so not a lot, but they have patrols. The Baron has patrols going around the...
They have no sort of economic ties through the ports?
Vadragan?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the port's on the other side. It's on the mainland, across the
On
bay.
the mainland, okay.
Yep. The main port.
Gotcha.
So there are, you know, fishing boats, and there's a little boatyard in Bleakstone. And Haydn tells you that Wolf Canute sent some people there.
Okay.
So they're trying to build boats. It's kind of a losing proposition because of the patrols, the ships that patrol around the island. Kind of the currents don't play well with the smaller boats. But, you know, if worse comes to worse, that's one way to get at least, you know, some of the people to safety, perhaps. That's what he says. Wolf Canute's really he's really a thinker.
And what does he want to do with the people in this villa?
Who are the residents of the villa?
He doesn't know. So they have defied Wolf Canute. They were staying in, you know, one of the mansions further into Horncliffe, and learned about this place and came up, thought they could claim it as their own, and found out that someone had beaten them there.
And there was resistance?
Yeah, they have this... There's a tower on this house that kind of covers pretty much all angles except for the one side, which overhangs the cliff. So anybody that approaches, you know, gets a crossbow bolt. I've had a few lads come back with bolts stuck in their arms, and, you know, one person nearly died. Wolf Canute's gone out there and tried to talk with them a few times, but they must have something good in there that they want to keep to themselves. But best we can reckon, there were only a handful. right?
All right.
We shall see.
Okay, so you get a good meal and you get some rest. The others are very wary of you. They don't like to watch you pick through the stuff that they feel like they have rightfully taken. And so, they if you bump into them, they might, put a shoulder into you as you walk by, try to...
We cannot take the stuff that they have rightfully stolen.
Rightfully stolen. These are pirates. There's like a code. And Haydn, he's just so cheerful. Just can't stop him. Still bleeding profusely out of this eye, and he tells you all about it. Like, he was so lucky because this crossbow, that was meant for him, like, hit part of the wall and split into two, and so he only took a splinter in the eye. And so...
Well, maybe Gimbal could give him a good berry.
Yeah. No, I'll be fine.
Just shove it in the socket.
Oh.
I don't think that's how that works.
Much better.
Do you have a bow or anything?
I picked up a bow from the
Do you have a bow? Sweet.
Well, yeah, I'd probably grab a crossbow if there was one. Speaking of crossbows, so
Okay.
we might need to do some sniping.
Grab crossbows. Again,
Well, hopefully it doesn't come to that.
people
I'm
are...
assuming.
Yeah, I have a light crossbow.
I'm
always
assuming
comes
it
to
didn't
that.
go well because, these pirates certainly don't, seem very friendly. So no wonder they got shot at.
That's a good point. They definitely are not very friendly, seeming, especially to you right now. But Haydn, he's,
But
irrepressible.
if we approach in motley and approach waving cheerfully, we could offer our services to them.
Have you ever heard a bolt shot at you?
I've had tomatoes thrown at me.
I know. That's why you have me stand in front of you.
It's quite an admission there. I don't know. All right, so you guys...
People were being very generous with their vegetables,
That's true, right? Doesn't come
rewarding
cheap.
me.
Don't know why they'd be all the rotten ones.
Okay, anything else you guys want to do?
That's why I want to play for a higher class of people. They'll throw bracelets and things.
No, it sounds like then. So we get information, we rest, and then we get up and we're gonna go do this.
Yep. So you wake up the next day, and you can smell there's, someone's cooking, breakfast for the camp. Smells amazing, and if you go out and check it out, you see that, they're like, you get pushed back, and you're like, one hot meal. That's what you were told. So they're not even going to give you breakfast.
It's not very nice.
And Haydn's like, me old mother used to say, one thing a Thurangari can't steal is a sense of humor. Was it good manners? I can't remember, but I think both apply in this case. Don't let that get you down. They're good people. Just go out there, prove yourselves. Everything's going to be great. Blood pouring from his eye.
Still?
No, not anymore, but...
You and I have different definitions of good.
So Haydn, he's like, I can walk you up there, kind of give you the lay of the land if you like.
Are you sure you want to do this, boss?
I never turn a gig down. We don't know the provenance of our patron, but
Okay.
if it'll keep us safe and help us understand the lay of this town, so be it.
Super. So Haydn kind of walks up there, and you notice he's limping now. He's like, I just must have slept on a rock all night long. Just my old hip. But I'll be fine. We'll get you up there, and I'll show you what's what. And he drags you up there. And so you walk a few feet, meters farther up the hill. And you get up there. And I will put it on your map now. And you can kind of see a little bit of what you're dealing with. You'll be in the upper left corner. Did it show up for you?
Something.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Perfect. That's exactly what you should see.
That's it.
So this
That's
is
it.
kind of where he guides you to, basically. He's like, all of my years in the Thieves Guild, I think your best bet
Asterisk.
is to go around, go down the hill. I know it looks dangerous and steep, but you can find your footing. Trust me, and just kind of work your way around the other side. I think there's probably a veranda or something out there that you can maybe climb up. I would have a veranda if I had a villa like this overlooking the city. Wouldn't you?
Why are we doing this in daytime?
It's a good point. It is very misty out, as you can see on the map. Tried to indicate it on the map. So you do have some cover from that.
I mean, that is a good point. But
I thought that you were going to talk first. So you don't have to do this. This is just where the map puts you.
We can either go in as a jaunty band, or we can approach in a more stealthy manner.
What does the rogue suggest when it comes to stealth?
that's always my preference.
So why would these people let us in as a band? This is not the time that people are looking for.
Everyone always needs merriment. A group of seasoned troubadours would certainly be a welcome respite to the dour, oppressive nature of the city, don't you think?
No. I simply think you are wrong.
Oh, we jest.
Is it a windy day?
It is not too windy, no.
Perhaps I could call upon the gods to protect us with perhaps fog,
Like more fog.
like a cloud around us.
Yeah.
I'm just an idea
Does it
guy,
move with
boss.
us, though?
It can if
we-
I put it on myself.
There's not much showing on the map here. Can we? What are we looking at?
So this would place you kind of off the cliff, like assuming that you went around, climbed down this steep cliff face, and are going to inch your way along. And basically, to the south of you, what you can't see is where the villa actually is.
Yeah.
So Haydn's master plan here, being the great thief that he was, is that you would climb down this treacherous cliff, inch your way across using the mist and the line
and
of
find the
sight.
keep by touch.
Yeah, and get there. I mean, you'll be able to see it when you get close. He assures you of that. And he's pretty sure there's some kind of veranda that might be open, because he would have a veranda with a view like that. So you just use your rope and a grapple, and you're up.
In fairness, this is getting sketchier and sketchier. Like, why won't he show us the map? What's going on, Jerry?
No, there's really nothing sketchy. It just I shouldn't have put the map up until you guys had decided to.
Well, here we are.
Yeah, I would really want to scout it out.
Okay.
Just
So
to see, what I thought at points of entry were, and and did you want to advocate to go knock on the door?
Well, I don't even know where the door is at this point.
well, we can just do a theater of the mind for the
What?
door, because you wouldn't be able to see it on this map anyway. So, but it's directly south of you, in the theater of your mind.
How big is this manor?
Yeah.
Okay, it's fairly large, but modest compared to the homes in the section of town you came from, Horncliffe.
But are we talking like a 30-foot tower?
The tower is
50-foot tower?
substantial. It is about 30 feet up in the air. There's a good 2.5 stories of tower. And the door is on the other side of the tower from where you are on this map. And there's a path that leads up to it. And you can see the path. And there's a big sign that sits astride the path that says, Flossdale Vineyards.
Does that mean anything to us?
It sounds lovely.
Does.
Can we make a knowledge to see if we know anything?
Yeah, you guys can roll if you want to do knowledge, history.
I have that.
Or you can ask Hayden since he's there too.
18.
I got a 20, but I will ask him.
Nice.
Sweet. So one of the things that you guys heard when you came to town was that there's this
Just history.
fabulous arena, kind of like the best one in town. Like everyone talks about it. You know, they're always wanting to know who tried the labyrinth. That's the name of it. You know, who's trying the labyrinth next time. You know, is anybody we know? And so basically, the labyrinth actually was owned by and started by Remus Nova. That's how he made his fortune. It's like a multi-level maze that has all sorts of exotic creatures roaming around, and they start you at the bottom, and anyone can go in, and if you can fight your way to the top and survive, you gain your freedom and a small fortune. And so far, only one person that you know of has ever made it, and that guy had the same last name, Flossdale.
Okay.
That's really the only connection you can make.
So we are protected by so far, if we get down this mountain, we are protected on the way down by sight.
Hayden tells you that you can go down the ridge a ways, and there's a greenhouse. And if you go around the greenhouse, you could get down the cliff, and he recommends that's where you would go out of sight, out of crossbow range, scramble onto the cliff, and then try to inch your way.
Well,
So in fairness, we have no true allegiance to Wolfcanute.
no.
That is correct.
And the inhabitants of this manor have held their own against hundreds of bloodthirsty, riotous pirates. They might be better patrons than Wolfcanute.
They might be.
Yeah. And I don't want to, by putting the map up early, I don't want to rule out the fact that you could talk your way in if you wanted to give that a shot.
Use your skills, boss. Everybody wants to see them.
Sing your way through
I've
the door.
seen you talk people out of their own fortune, which was not much. So I kind of felt bad for them.
14 silver, that's right.
What do you think, soldier?
I do not believe that the bard can talk his way in.
Sounds like
Boom.
a challenge.
Does sound like a challenge.
Well, should we fail at diplomacy, then we can take the rogue's approach.
But then they know that we are here.
They already know they are under siege.
They won't see us coming.
Perhaps we head down the ridge to the greenhouse while we discuss this and decide then.
Okay.
I'm in favor of the front door.
Are you? That's surprising.
Okay.
Then let us approach. With benign expressions upon our faces, our instruments in hand.
instruments in hand. I love it. Okay.
About that, I didn't exactly find something.
Yeah, your pan flute.
I wasn't really looking for an instrument when I was rifling through the wagons.
Yeah. So you guys can make your way down the path that heads to the house, and the sign that sits across the path is large enough, substantial enough that it could give you partial cover. So if you wanted to work your way up there, totally fine. You will be in crossbow range a good part of that time, like the last 20 feet or so.
I use the bugbear for cover.
Does make good
I mean,
cover.
if you're going to approach, you should approach openly.
Exactly. If we're looking furtive, it will.
Okay. So you guys are just going to walk up the path?
We're going to just walk up the path.
I'll be playing my mandolin.
Okay. So I'm assuming a 19 hits you.
Me?
Yep. So they shoot.
Is it a flower?
It's not a flower. And that's going to do...
A full bouquet?
what does a crossbow do? 1d8.
Wow. So they didn't even want to talk.
4 damage.
You didn't even have me roll perform.
You can try to talk and talk your way in.
To whom?
You could shout. I mean, that came from the tower. So you could shout to them.
That was not a warning shot.
It was not. I rolled really well, though. So, but...
Well, I will, with gritted teeth, shout out, "Your loss! We're really good!"
Do you want to roll or something? Or are you just giving up on the talking route?
I just took 4 hit points. I don't know.
Yeah.
Give it your best.
Please, hold your bow. We only wish to perform. We are humble entertainers seeking to survive in a riotous city. Please allow us to perform for you.
Some moments pass after that, and then you hear a voice kind of, carried on the mist back to you. I know you're with those others. Don't even think of coming closer.
We have allegiance only to ourselves. We wish merely to survive and find our own way.
You can survive someplace else. Now get out of here. You want to roll?
Can we
Yeah,
speak
we're
to your
rolling.
supervisor?
I'd like to speak to the manager in charge of the vineyards here.
There you go.
What'd you get?
Nat 20.
Nat 20.
25.
Wow. Okay. So he's like, you hear the voice say, what happened to the others that were out there?
The pirates?
Yeah, that's what they look like.
They yet camp over the ridge.
How'd you get past them?
Again, we traded our talents.
Talents of, at what?
He's very good.
That's just
With an arrow in my shoulder, I still can do that.
like 6'10" creature, gravelly voice saying he's very good.
Well, you've got your pan flute out, right? Like,
No,
accompany
I-
me.
Lost
Come
his
on.
pamphlet.
I'm just the roadie today, apparently.
Oh my goodness.
That's awesome.
I need some backup.
Okay, so you guys, he's like, come closer so I can see you.
And I'm assuming I found a cloak that I can kind of like cover my head to a degree.
Okay.
I don't think that really,
Yeah.
you are the definition of hulking.
So you can approach if you want, but you're really taking a chance.
Take a chance on me.
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to approach.
Okay. Anyone else?
I mean, I thought we were just all walking together.
I'm
Yes.
going to approach as well.
All right, off we go.
Poor Brokos, he doesn't seem quite convinced. So you walk forward, hand in hand,
No,
playing your mandolin.
I'm not actually playing at this point.
Okay.
And I am holding a loaded crossbow under the cloak, but not looking. For
Perhaps you could use that mandolin as a shield if anything else comes down raining upon us.
Not the mandolin, no.
So you get there and you see some movement in one of the small arrow slits in this tower. And as you get closer, you understand the scale of it. It's the tower kind of makes up most of this villa. It's really like overkill. I mean, you've never seen anything quite designed like it. Look like some kid's, sketch of a castle or something. And so you're just like, oh, this is strange, but it's imposing, and it does give them line of sight, like all the way around the house practically, except for the cliffside. So you get closer and like, that's far enough. Stop right there.
And I will hold my hands up.
And you hear him shout back. What are your names?
And I will bow deeply and say, I am Alar Noestri,
And?
Bard Extraordinaire.
Okay. What about you?
My accompanists, Brokos on drums, Kragar on pan flute,
Nice.
and Triss on tambourine.
This is just absolutely
Ridiculous.
off the rails, delightful. So it's like you'll have to wait there for a second. I need to go get Brock. Okay.
I'm thinking about changing the name of our band to Alar and the Unchained, since, we just got Unchained. How's that sound?
That's good.
You like that?
like that.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I do like that.
I prefer that to bucket filler.
Yeah, that was pretty gross. So you managed to get yourself close enough. He's gonna run and get someone named Brock, and pretty soon.
Oh, Brock. Never where you need him.
Some time passes, and you feel Haydn getting a little bit antsy now. He's
Oh,
like,
he's still with us.
yeah,
I
he's
thought he
still
went
with you.
back.
Yeah, I thought he went back.
No, he followed along. He's
I don't like that.
Oh, you don't?
No.
No.
Well, he's gonna, he wants to help out. He wants to make sure this is.
Is he dressed
I
as a
don't
pirate?
want
I don't know that we want his help.
No, I don't want his help. He should go now.
Oh, okay.
He looks like a pirate.
He's kind of shifty.
Oh,
And that weeping sore that is his eye.
it's all better now. Trust me, it's good. Like you don't want my help. My old
No.
mother used to say, "You never have too much help."
Yeah, I think
Go away.
when we started approaching, we like
Probably
Go
cautioned him
away.
away. Yeah.
And so he's like, I understand. You do what you need to do. Remember, we're here to help you if you need anything.
Great, go away.
So you see him hobble back up the hill, holding on to his hip, and he gets past the sign and out of bolt range.
I didn't trust him.
Okay.
Do you even trust us?
No.
Not yet.
Exactly.
Very little trust to go around.
I'm not certain that Hayden really was in charge of all of the thieves' guilds in town.
I had never
Something
heard
about
him.
that seems strange.
He didn't even know the Thieves Guilds.
He'd heard of them. He said he heard of them all, right?
That's what he said.
Yeah, he knew all those. He knew some of those words.
I didn't like his talking.
Wow, you guys are rough. So I'm the one
You
creating
set the tone.
true dark city, and
You
you
set
guys,
the tone.
you guys are just jumping in.
This is not the happy-go-lucky season 1.
I had names for all these people, and I don't know where they are. So we're just going to proceed without names for this group in the villa. And so time passes, and someone, you see a bulkier figure come up to the arrow slit and kind of covers it up, and you see, some beady kind of yellowish eyes looking
How far
down
up
at
is
you.
this arrow slit?
It's probably about, let's see, I would say you were probably about 30 feet away from it.
Okay.
It's not on top, it's like in the middle level
Uh-huh.
of it. So this person comes over, and this is apparently Brock. And he's like, "Who are you? What do you want?"
We are Alar and the Unchained. At your service.
What are you, some kind of band?
Indeed. One of the only working bands in Vadrigan currently,
It's hard to believe he's never heard of us.
given that we just named ourselves.
Gotta do promotion for this thing.
We wish to exchange music and entertainment for a night's stay, or at least succor for an afternoon.
Okay, so roll persuasion.
I already did.
This is a totally different person.
Okay, 17.
17. Okay. So he looks down at you, and he's thinking about it, and he's like, "We have nothing to give you. If
Shelter from the chaos of Vadrigan.
If you wish to play, play."
Can we tell what type of creature he is?
He's a half-orc.
The friendly kind.
The overly friendly kind, yeah. He likes to pet people a lot.
I'm beginning to think this wasn't a good idea.
If you don't start playing, I'll have the men shoot you. How about that?
Should you not wish to hire our services, we will gladly be on our way.
And be gone.
Start playing.
Play or be gone.
Okay, I'll play. And that's another 17.
Nice. So you play, and you see, you see the shadow in there, kind of, nodding to the tune, and you go, "You are better than I thought, but you must be gone."
Well, tell your friends.
Okay.
So he's gonna shoo you away.
Quietly,
I guess.
I'm going to say to him, "Do you not want to perhaps give them information about the pirates, or tell them we have some information about the pirates?"
I just had a great idea. Say, we did just come through the pirate camp. Could we not trade some information that we gained to you in exchange for aid, assistance, and so forth?
Yes. Drop your weapons and take off your cloaks.
You want us to take off our clothes? It's kind of weird.
I don't think so.
I'll drop the spoons that I have in my hand.
The spoons.
Little clatter. They hit the rocks. It's awesome.
I will unbelt my rapier.
If we wished you harm, we wouldn't have come to your front door.
Oh, come now.
You sound like my brother.
But either take the weapons off and drop your cloaks, or else we will open fire.
I will drop the rusty scimitar that I grabbed from the pile.
The
not
Legionnaire in your group is not happy with this.
No, not happy at all.
Don't you worry, my friends. My chief weapon is my wit.
Yes, it's going so well, just as you predicted.
Okay, so
It takes a while to get to know him, and then, he's a real sweetheart.
you guys are dropping your weapons. Are all of you dropping the weapons? Because he will open fire if...
I'm dropping the weapons, except for the dagger that is secreted.
Okay. Do I want to know where it's secreted?
No.
Okay. So you guys drop your weapons and your cloaks, and he tells you to march forward towards the door.
Okay. I will march proudly.
Okay, so you go forward towards the door, and the you get close enough, and you hear the sound of something happening on the other side of this door, and maybe a bar of wood is being removed from the behind it or whatever, but it's a big, stout, sturdy wooden door with iron banding, and it has some frilly metal kind of spiky grill work on the outside to ward off axe blows and things like that. So you get, you see this door start to open, and out come two humanoids. Can't quite tell because they have cloaks on, and they come rushing out, and they're both holding light crossbows on you. And then you hear the voice come from inside.
He's like, "That's good. Come closer. Come inside. Hurry now."
So can I at least bundle the weapons and bring them inside so that they don't get looted?
Don't worry about your weapons.
So you going inside?
Yes.
Okay.
We've
So
gone this far.
they are standing a good 8-9 feet away from you, crossbows,
We
pointed
thank
at
you for your gracious hospitality.
Yes, you talk too much. Get in.
So you get ushered in, and the door slams behind you, and there's someone else inside that slams down the block of wood, and you are now inside the villa.
See, look at that. We got in.
Mission accomplished.
That's all we need to do, right? That was our mission?
Yeah. Check it
No,
off.
that was not the
Mission
mission at all.
we made it in. So that is actually where we're going to stop for now. You guys will have to learn what happens, because I did not plan for that at all. So
Excellent.
good job
That's what I like to
finding
hear, Jerry.
another way in, and we'll have to wait and see what happens inside the Flossdale Villa next week.
Oh, man.
We're going to make some new friends. That's what's going to happen.
Is
right?
that what's going to happen? I
Yeah.
don't know. Should be interesting, though.
New friends.
Thanks, you guys. Great episode 2. Loving the characters still. Hopefully you are. And we'll see everybody next week, I suppose, right?
It's a good
Yeah.
thing that
Bye-bye.
you guys cannot see Tris rolling her eyes.
But we can now.
Yeah.
If they watch the video on YouTube later.
That
so
alone is worth
that's the benefit.
subscription.
So thank you guys, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.